Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market. Take a look over there at the stock market, which is set to open up in about 30 minutes from right now. Kind of a mixed morning over there in stocks. We'll go through that. Take a look at precious metals like gold and silver. Silver knocking on $41 right now, with gold at $35.50. And then we take a look over there at any type of crypto news or financial news as we get ready to kick off our fine Wednesday, everybody. So I hope you all are doing absolutely fantastic. It is Wednesday. We try to keep it light, tight, and bright. Happy Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday.
All right, welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday. We'll see if the markets can cooperate for us, man. The last like 3 or 4 Wednesdays we get red here during Markets in the Morning. Of course, that just happened. No, don't do that to me. Okay, there we go. Let's do that, dude. So rusty. We've had kind of, every day it's been like, every Wednesday it's been like kind of like a rough Wednesday. We'll see if we can get something different to happen today. You got kind of a mixed action happening over there in stocks as we get ready to kick off the day. The NASDAQ is up. The Dow's down about 0.5%. The Russell's about flat. It's down 0.1%. Big leaders to kick off the market this morning are Google. I guess as they avoided like an antitrust lawsuit or something. And then you got Apple up through almost 4% as well. Then kind of mixed everywhere else. Nothing really up more than 1% and nothing really down more than 1%. So I don't know. It looks like at least half of them are going to be green. So I'm not sure why so many of the indexes are red, but must just be the weighting that's going on in there. You got Bitcoin over there at $111,300. You got XRP over there at $2.85. Ethereum at $43.69. Russell 2000 $23.47. And then again, you got silver at $40.99. And then with gold at $35.54. So we'll take a look at all of these things and try to tie in all the dynamics together. I put out kind of a longer YouTube video yesterday, just kind of trying to paint that whole picture. Of course, put out a newsletter over the weekend to wrap up the month of August. I can't believe it's already September 3rd. That's weird, man. Time is flying right now. Stream got started a couple of minutes late because my mother-in-law's dog lives with us now, and it's a small dog. It's a yappy dog. And the dingus dog just decided to start yapping right when I was about to go live. So if you hear yapping in the background, sorry, it's just the way life is right now. All right, let's hop on into the charts and see how things are going. I hope you all are doing well. Mixed day over here in crypto, mostly green, but really just kind of on a little bit of a ricochet happening over here on Bitcoin. Still waiting for the definitive results on what ends up happening, right? Yeah, if we're going to hold supports in here and still continue a parabolic march for Bitcoin, or if it's going to confirm itself and go breaking down below and get below 105. It's still just kind of that wait and see. I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself on that one quite a few times, and I still think it's very reasonable that we even dip down here one more time to test everybody's patience and conviction and scare the crud out of everybody. But bigger picture, of course, this is where things get really interesting, is looking over there at the Bitcoin dominance and what's happened here in the last couple of months and how we're looking heading into September. If there's like one thing to really hold on to of the interesting dynamics happening in the market, it is really this. You have a very clear large time frame destruction of oscillation happening over here on Bitcoin dominance on the monthly time frame, with even that stochastic RSI shooting itself all the way down, getting very close to zero, which insinuates that strength just completely depleting on itself. And of course, this is what happened back in 2021. as Bitcoin was going in for its top and producing its topping structures and retraces in here and all of that. We don't have any of that information right now on how Bitcoin's topping will look like in regards to retraces, or if there's deeper pullbacks first before retracement, or if this is going to go parabolic first right now. But this right here is the most fascinating thing to me in the market, because we've waited years for that to end up printing. So it's a unique time in the market for sure right now. Of course, we have Ethereum knocking up there on that high right there. We've shown this, how this is what Bitcoin did like precisely back in 2020 and into 2021 with our crash, retrace, reaccumulation. You had your C19 crash for Bitcoin. You had your tariff crash over here for Ethereum to mark its lows, and then it just shoots its way back up to the top. We're trying to see if this is going to end up being an expanded flat going on here for Ethereum as it's knocking on the door to try to shoot its way out. So of course, the first thing that we're all looking for is for this zone to just kind of wrap itself up. And if we start seeing 4,700 in there, just looking for a bull flag. And if a bull flag starts to produce itself, the next likely step is to actually bust out of there. And of course, all of that ties into what? Senor Russell 2000. So this has been kind of the messaging for the last week. And of course, a big topic written about in the newsletters, posted over there on X, elaborated on in yesterday's 26-minute video. I think it was 26 minutes long. That it is just so unequivocal that everything depends on where we're at right now. And it's a fascinating time when we have total 3 sitting as high as it is. It's obviously right back at the 2021 all-time high. You can see it's just like a tick below it, but the sentiment, of course, of the market is extreme terror, extreme fear happening right now. It's very fascinating. I think it's just, we all kind of know it's likely at a big resistance and the momentum has slowed down. Everybody's waiting for, is something going to happen for it to be able to bust its way out? A lot of that, of course, depending on the Russell. And where is it? Is it here? Yeah. So this is, again, boy, a lot of pondering and just like an inner soul searching going on. Like, of course, we've talked about this Russell stuff for forever. We've talked about these larger indexes for forever, and Bitcoin and the altcoin market and the dependency they have on broader liquidity. But when you're in this market for, like me, for 8.5 years now, I got in like the spring of 2017 when Bitcoin was like $2,500, something like that. Before we went into like the summer crash where it crashed from like 3,000 to 1,700, I think. You watch all the narratives, right? Watch all the storytelling happening in crypto, and the block reward halvings, and the secrets upon secrets, and all these different things that happen. And then you go back and you just look at the data, and the data is so clearly liquidity flows and breadth in markets and what's happening. And so, of course, on the top up here, I'll take this off for just a second. On the top up in here, we have the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and the Dow Jones. And then you have Bitcoin in your candlesticks. And then down here on the bottom, we have total 3. Which one is total 3? Total 3 is red. And then we have the Russell 2000. And so what we clearly have is the peak over here from November of 2021. We could see how the market has behaved. And we've had this obvious breadth issue that has happened in markets the entire time, which has been vastly different from what happened in 2013, 17, and 21. And when we go back, like you go back and you reflect back on what it was like back in March and April of last year, back in 2024, the crowd went completely euphoric, right? And that's when I was sitting there saying, there's a breadth issue, there's a breadth issue, there's a problem here, there's a problem here. And that's where, everybody, it was a weird time for me on my channel because it felt a lot like calling the top of 2021. But it just felt like this was like a retracement market happening in here. And then we've seen this totally different dynamic happen in the market that has been different from all past cycles, right? The 4-year block reward having nonsense, everything, it's just all been tied. And of course, I wrote about this in the newsletter, and you guys have seen this many times in YouTube videos, how there's never been a time ever in any of crypto's cycles where the Russell didn't go with the major indexes, right? And so this implies, of course, that all the capital got really sucked into major assets, right? It got sucked into your Mag 7s and did not spread out throughout the entire market. And what we get to see is that breadth issue also occurring over here in the cryptocurrency market, where we have Bitcoin going and stabbing out of that range from 2021, backtesting the range from 2021 with the major indexes and the Mag 7s and the likes, and then continuing on to another range. Yet still, we are stuck down here for the Russell 2000, and we're stuck down here for the altcoin market. It's like I'm saying, like, the inner reflections and like being in here for 8.5 years, and you're just like the secrets upon secrets, the stories, the narratives, the everythings. And then you look at the data and you just, the black reward having, all that stuff, right? And you're like, man, that's it, huh? That's what the market is, huh? But it is. So, obviously the things that we're all watching for at this point and waiting for is to see that we're clearly going to get that bust out happening over here in the Russell 2000. And, focusing on crypto charts in particular, and little teeny tiny things. You guys saw it back in November of last year when the Russell busted out. Obviously, we're getting something similar, right? So we bust out of the retracements, but obviously, what are we doing? We're just getting back to the same ranges as we did last time we busted through the retracements. So clearly, what do we have to have now? We've got to get through the all-time high. And you get through the all-time high, that's going to be your bust out happening over here on the altcoin market. And I think it's one of those things that can happen fairly quickly if it is to come. The thing, of course, to watch over here is going to be gold, right? And so this was talked about in last videos. These drawings, I believe, are from last week or from the week prior on gold. And people have asked, what do you think about gold? And it's just, my thoughts are it's completely run out of momentum. And whether or not it's going to fall from here or if it's going to short squeeze up in here from all these, thoughts that we've had in the past weeks, obviously we're getting the short squeeze to happen in here. And the thing that I'll be paying attention to is to see that wherever this lands, right? It's doubtful it's going to land right on this retracement level, but wherever this ends up landing, to see a reaction happen in broader markets at the same time, to say it's a real move. Because what you don't want, of course, is a little shift up happening in here, and it doesn't really mean anything. But likely what would end up happening is that there's some type of rejection that comes out of here, and that this is a short squeeze, and that this is going to end up failing. And then there's a confirmation happening by equities ramping up into that, or at least breadth ramping up, and the Russell 2000 ramping up as this peak gets put into place. And that would insinuate that we have a completely different dynamic in the markets happening right now. But once again, what are we seeing? Of course, you see the gold moving, and you see Bitcoin stalling out, you see crypto stalling out. And this would be a definite turning point, right? Like, we're talking about a move that has happened here for gold, right? That would have ramped all the way up to a full extension. And you would have a completely different dynamic change by rejecting off of here and heading down at the same time where a dynamic change would finally be happening in here. So I think if we saw those two events occur simultaneously, where gold gets rejected right there, and this happens at the exact same time, we have the true dynamic shift finally happening in the market. And that would finally, I'm going to clearly bet, and all my crypto bets are placed that way, that the altcoin market is going to be the thing that significantly outperforms Bitcoin, and that the Russell 2000 is going to significantly outperform the broader indexes, and that there's this major lag. It's like a beach ball being held underneath water right now. Like, there's your water line. It's been held under while everything else has gotten out, and that there's going to be some type of release that ends up happening for the smaller caps to happen in here. There's obviously way more capital in the markets, right? There's a lot of capital sitting in these markets right now, but it hasn't flowed down here, right? And so, of course, what do we have coming up in here? You have your Fed rate cuts that are coming here. It's looking, you can never say anything guaranteed with the Fed, but it's looking pretty guaranteed with the Fed that they're going to be cutting there on September 17th, which is 2 weeks from today. Of course, the companies that are being impacted the most by these increased rates are going to be your smaller cap stocks, right? With their borrowing costs. So they're going to be the ones that benefit the most. So I think we're primed. Obviously, what we're waiting on right now is, we'll get to XRP here in just a minute, is if this is going to end up being a short squeeze, which I fully suspect that it is. And I showed this in yesterday's video. Right, the way to think about it. Can I take all this off? I can probably take that off. And I'll hide that. Is to think of it like that, right? Right. You've had your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 waves within the 5th wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 waves within your 5th wave. And then, of course, the final short squeeze to end up happening in here. And so that places you at somewhere like right there for gold. And then watching to see if there's a true dynamic shift that finally unleashes itself in this market in that moment when gold hits. If we finally see this bust out of here, and that's what happens with gold, we know we've reached a dynamic change happening in the markets. And so it's a very, very intense time in markets right now. And I can't reiterate that enough. The fingernail biting, the watching, the waiting, the Bitcoin, the altcoin market, the Russell 2000, gold, all of this. It's like these extreme moments all happening all at the same time to see if there's this big dynamic change to unleash itself very soon. And we're right on the cusp of finding that out. So it's intense for sure. And it's one of those things of like trying not to overtalk myself and like come in and like nitpick all of these little moves in here on things like Ethereum or things like XRP or things like Bitcoin and everything like that, and focus more on like the bigger picture stuff, because all those things are the things that truly matter. And the data just proves it, that they are the things that matter. But underneath the hood, we've got these dynamic shifts happening here that imply it seems likely, right? It seems likely that dynamic change is about to happen. And it's exciting. It's exciting, but nerve-wracking, right? And what is it going to look like, right? Is it going to be a non-existent, non-participatory Bitcoin? And is it going to be solely an altcoin market dynamic happening in here? Because that is a true, serious dynamic change happening in the market. True, serious dynamic change happening in the market. Is this going to be only the altcoin show? We'll find out. Find out. But I do think we're getting really, really, really close to finding out here on a peak of Bitcoin, or not peak of Bitcoin, a peak of gold mixed with waiting for the environments to kick in here for these markets too. And if this busts out, I want you to remember that, like, all your narratives that you've built in your head of what crypto is to you and what is the thing that causes prices to rise and network effects and all that different stuff. If we see gold peak out here within the next $100, and then right when gold peaks, if the Russell 2000 busts out of the all-time high, and then the altcoins start boosting out at the exact same time, to then start questioning everything. Because that's just where I am. I'm out like trying, wrapping my head around all of that. And I don't buy any of the narratives, any of them, none of them. So, all right. I don't know. Just food for thought. Like, man, that's just the stuff that goes through my head. So share that with you. I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'm not your typical influencer selling you the idea that hopium, copium, all that different stuff. It's all one big trade, right? It's very clearly obvious. It's all one big trade. But I don't see any reason to think that it can't happen, right? I don't see any reason to think it can't happen. Like what we saw in the Russell yesterday was a back test. Where's the Dow? The Dow yesterday, of course, being a back test, right? There's our highest daily candle close, the move that you had yesterday in the Dow, just a back test. These things, right? There's nothing crazy that's happened here in these last couple of days to imply there's like some big breakdown happening over here in these broader indexes, and that these could just be back tests happening in here. And it's like waiting for one last push. And that push, that's going to give it the juice to be able to shoot through would be the peak of gold. And I think it's very reasonable to think that. Oh, yeah. All right, hold on. More animals. Okay. So there you go. That's what's going on with the relationship of gold, stocks. I think we're at a very pivotal moment, and all of your crypto bags are dependent on it. So moving over there to Ethereum. Of course, Ethereum's doing all this stuff right in here. We're looking to see if we can get a bust up to 4,700. I think if we get a bust up to 4,700, we're likely implying that we're very close. But of course, this would be correlated with the Russell 2000. But I think we could be very, very close to that. XRP, this is the big challenge over here on XRP. If it's going to find strength or continued weakness happening in here, normally I don't like looking at all this. Here's the what do I say? The devil's advocate in me, right? I don't know what term to really use. We look at this stuff, right? And it's like, oh yeah, we are priming up. Everything's looking golden and gravy and good. The Russell 2000 looking good. The thing that just makes me uncomfortable about what happened with XRP is that move that happened right there. After all the things we've talked about, that the case officially ended at the 702 retracement in here off of this thing. So technically, right, there's still a lot of things that can happen. There's like, it just doesn't even matter. And I talked about this in yesterday's video. If price is able to completely get its way out in here and just even get up to like the 330s or so and escape this level, right, I think we're probably completely fine, and we're just going to work our way up to actually go in for a complete breakout happening in here. But if there become a lot of problems here at this $3.10 region, it opens up these doors of just acting like the things that was asked about in markets in the morning like a month ago. Like, where would you start being concerned about the price of XRP and that something's not right? And it was the talks of like, well, if we just kind of continue grinding like this stuff in here, and that would start implying that something just doesn't seem right in here. And so far, we've really acted kind of precisely like that, that we're still just kind of traversing in here, not doing a whole lot with the price of XRP. And so it seems likely, you could still have a pop-up back to these levels, but then the question is, does there become a big failure in here? And if there becomes a big failure off of $3.10, I just I would love for somebody to tag me in something. And say, no, it's super, super bullish. And I can, like we talked about in yesterday's video, right? It's very common to have your ABC corrections come off of these highs, right? You go sweep into a new high and then you produce an ABC correction happening in here. But, there's certain levels that you would expect to just continue to end up holding, like the peaks of these levels, right? This is obviously our fake rally. This is the one that was the Trump post of a crypto strategic reserve. Really, these are the levels that probably are the ones that are important in here. And if we just start breaking down from in here, the argument gets real tough. And I think a lot of people just kind of depend on other, so like you have to understand the content creation game of crypto and YouTube and X and Twitter is that like 90% of the crypto YouTube channels and 90% of the crypto Twitter accounts essentially are following other crypto Twitter accounts and then just kind of regurgitate everything. But making sure that if there's some type of like the bull thesis I can create for XRP that we didn't get completely trapped here by the case ending at the 702 retracement, of course, is the ABC off of the all-time high. We saw that with Bitcoin. I've shown it to you with gold. I've shown it to you multiple times. Very common stuff to end up happening in here. And so long as you're holding these particular support levels, totally viable and cool. Nothing's wrong with that. Here's the example of gold, right? You clearly Wyckoff happening here, Wyckoff happening here, shoot to the high, ABC, very volatile ABC, and then it just busts its way out, right? And ends up going, and everything is fine and dandy, and we shoot off to 4.236 extension, and everything is lovely and everything is wonderful. But we have seen circumstances where it's not, right? And the thing that, of course, is concerning is that the case ends here, and did we get duped? So again, make sure that all the content being regurgitated has a thesis and ideas, and those ideas are clearly printed. And by all means, share them with me if you have an idea of what the structure is outside of saying it's an ABC. Because my thoughts are, you come down in here. I don't know how to turn that into a bullish structure. I just don't know how to do it at all. And I know how the content games work. Oh, it's still bullish, it's still bullish, it's still bullish. Everybody's regurgitating everything. But I don't know how you create this into being bullish coming down here, right? I mean, we could throw on all the moving averages happening down in here. And go to weekly time frames, and you could say, oh, well, there's still the weekly supports that end up showing up in there. But I still would be cautious about them. So anyway, we're talking about these things now, just in case, because that way it would be talked about in the event that it ended up coming. The bigger picture, right, is it doesn't seem probable. It doesn't seem probable because of the dynamics that we have happening in the market. And why would it be probable if we're going to see Ethereum bust out, if we're going to see the Russell bust out, if we're going to see the Bitcoin dominance collapsing? It seems unlikely, right? It seems unlikely that something like that would end up happening. It seems likely that it would end up busting its way out too. But this thing just has continued to act like the discussion that was had here in Markets in the Morning, where somebody asked, where would you just be concerned about it at, and that things aren't quite looking right? And the discussion was, well, if it kind of behaved like this, and it still is. So that's where the concern lies there. And so that's why I'm talking to you guys and telling you about it, being like, this is probably a really big critical level here at like $3.10. And some of you guys hang on to those pennies with extremes. Like if it got to $3.11, oh, is it invalidated? No, it's not. It's not the literal penny. It's the area, right? Like you get through here, you bust through here, and you close higher, right? You close in like the 320s, right? You go to 315 and then you shoot your way back down and close at 302. Not good. Bust out of here, close up in here in these 320s, and then things start, we really start shifting over to looking at that of being like, oh, that was a really nice break, right? I'll use this one. I totally grabbed the wrong one. Right, we busted out, right? We're not finding struggles in here. Instead, we're busting out, and then we're likely going to find supports on it, and then we can work our way up. So I think for me, a lot of it all resides in here. How do we react here back at these $3.10 levels? That's what I'm watching for right now. So there you go. All right, there we go. We're getting ready for the markets to open. The markets did just open. So we actually have green over there in the S&P, green in the NASDAQ, green over there in the Russell 2000, Dow Jones down 0.05%. So it's down 36 points right now. Gold still sitting up in there. No moves over there in gold. Silver did cross above $41 there briefly. There was a lot of fans of $40 make you holla yesterday. Oh, there's 41. And so this is obviously slow moving. I'm obviously a mega bull on silver on the long time frame. But whenever these things start to make headlines, the crowd comes in and says, oh, should I buy some? Should I buy some? And this is so slow moving. And I was even texting with someone yesterday, and I was just like, you just got to remember this stuff is just really, really, really slow moving. And they were like, well, I wish it would move as fast as crypto would. And part of me is like, well, it's actually kind of nice that it doesn't. It's not as stressful. You just kind of hang back. It's just kind of a hedge against the crypto market. And real slow moving. But, when you have busts out that happen like this, let's just say there's even resistance here back at the all-time high, and you enter into a range like this for a while before it ends up breaking out, right? All of these, right? This is a year-long range. This is a year-and-a-half-long range. That's a year-and-a-half-long range. There's nothing to say you can't just range in here. They could take you out until 2027 and then go for a bust out. So if you're chasing metals, I would say be careful with that. You have to have this like really, really long-term horizon when it comes to precious metals. And especially for me, because I can tell you this because I've been stacking for over 8 years. My real stacking journey began back in here when we're $16. It take 8 years to get to 41. So if you're like, so what is that, right? 150% over the course of 8 years. If you're chasing, 150% would be about $100. And if you're thinking you're going to get it in a day, you're likely not. You're going to pay premiums. The process is slow. It's the metals game. You have to be very understanding of how they work, unless if you're just going to buy it in a brokerage account. But if you're planning on buying anything physical, know what you're doing before you start FOMOing in. Because back in here, people were paying $20 over spot for Silver Eagles. When retail came pouring in. Remember the silver squeeze stuff? Wall Street bets were doing the silver squeeze. People are paying $50 for Silver Eagles at $30. Over $20 over the spot price. So those people are upside down on their Silver Eagles until you break out into all-time highs. So don't be stupid. Simple as that. Okay. Back into it. Bitcoin, 111,000. Well, we're getting a little bit of green on a Wednesday. All right, Bitcoin at 111,500, XRP $2.85. Again, don't be fooled by these things. We're just waiting for price action to determine what our potential path is here for XRP. And if we got duped by the case ending, of course, broader market dynamics clearly state that this is going to be the altcoin season's favorable time to shine in the months ahead or month ahead. So don't be fooled by that either. Ethereum, of course, all of it, the stress of everything all ties back to the Russell 2000, which we're getting a green pop here. Now we're flipping green for the market today. It looks like yesterday's price action was just a back test. Ugh. Y'all feeling that stress, man? Such a wild moment because we're just at this point on determining if this is just a short squeeze happening here for gold, and if we're going to bust out here for the Russell 2000. And if we do, then we all have the beautiful path to glory. The beautiful path to glory. And the thing is that Ethereum indicates that it likely is coming. Likely is coming. So, all right. There you go. How long have I been rambling? 34 minutes. Oh my gosh. I don't know how I do it sometimes. I don't know how I do it. All right. There you go. Waiting to see a rejection happen for gold, followed by a confluence breakout of the Russell 2000. You get both of those events to happen at the same time. Guess what? Your precious altcoins are going to fly. You're going to have everybody on Twitter and X posting, hey, why are the altcoins moving? Oh, it's because there's a switch that's been flipped and all the money's flowing through it. Secrets. No. It's because the dynamics are happening. So we could be really close. We could be really close. All right. Moving over there, of course, with the Fed, right? 91% chance that we are going to be having a rate cut. We've waited years for this. It seems like the last rate cut that we got was totally political prior to the election. Jerome Powell then, of course, put a complete end to that. It's been almost a year since we've had a rate cut. It does seem we're going to be moving into a cutting dynamic happening in the market. This will be our last Fed live stream that we do end up doing. It'll be in 14 days from right now. Like everybody, I'm like, Jerome Powell, he's just a complete dingus. When he gets up there, he's just manipulating his words. He's a professional. He's just a politician, essentially, right? He's totally good at dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodging every single thing that gets thrown at him. It's as painful to watch for me as it is for you, even though they're my most watched live streams. You guys tune in way more to those than you do to markets in the morning, but that'll be the last one of those that we do. Because we finally have had that swap. We have finally swapped into an actual true cutting cycle. And that will be the conclusion of Fed live streams over here on the channel. Moving over here to financial news as we kick off the day. Alphabet stock, or Google stock, pops 6% in pre-market trading after Google avoids breakup and antitrust case. Macy's shares pop 10% as retailer tops earnings estimates, raises outlook. Walmart-backed fintech OnePay is adding wireless plans to its Everything app. Moving over here to crypto news, the most irrelevant news there is. Ethereum staking entry queue surges to 2-year high as institutions accumulate. Bitcoin price stages 2-week downtrend breakout with 112K as the next target. Bitcoin to see one more big thrust to 150,000. ETH pressure builds. Trade secrets. Peter Thiel versus Michael Saylor. Crypto treasury bet or bubble? 100% a bubble. 100% bet it's a bubble. I have no doubt in my mind. No doubt. The capitulation event. Zero doubt. Zero. I can't guarantee anything. Nothing is guaranteed. But I have zero doubt the capitulation event of Bitcoin when we get into the next bear market will be institutions dumping their Bitcoin, Bitcoin treasuries dumping their Bitcoin. Look at how... I'm not going to give an opinion. I won't say anything. I think Anthony Pompliano, I'm not going to give an opinion on it, I'm just showing his thing. I think Anthony Pompliano put like $300 million into his Bitcoin treasury where they bought Bitcoin. There's your Bitcoin treasury. What? Right, here's June. Right, they make the announcement. We are a Bitcoin treasury company. Burr, BRR. Of course, they tried to name it for, whatever. But yeah, that's the Bitcoin treasury. Let's do this too. Do it from here, right? Even from here, right? Bitcoin rising, treasury collapsing, rising, collapsing, right? I don't see why anybody would own a treasury. I don't see why anybody would buy it. Okay. Well, we didn't make it very far without me being negative about the news, right? Okay. Bitcoin to see one more thrust. Peter Thiel versus Michael Saylor, crypto treasury bet or bubble. Crypto can't scale without AI native compliance. Okay. Binance launches Mexico entity Mede. I don't know how to pronounce that. Even though I do speak very fluent Spanish. Plans $53 million investment. How to use ChatGPT to research coins before you invest. Who owns the most Ethereum in 2025? The ETH rich list revealed. This is for retail investors. This just doesn't do anything for you to care. It doesn't do anything for you to care. How to read market sentiment with ChatGPT and Grok before checking a chart. That might be interesting. What to expect with U.S. crypto policy as Congress comes back in session. Wow, I didn't even realize they were out of session, out of the loop. Okay. All right. There we have it. So as we kick off this fine, lovely day, Bitcoin's at 111,500. Nothing else matters except for what happens over here with the Russell 2000, which we're getting a nice bounce to happen here this morning after yesterday's backtesting price action. Waiting to see gold get a rejection. And then if we get a confluence move of gold and the Russell, guess what? Your altcoins are going to pump to Vahilla. The narrative that no one wants to believe in. Because you can only, here's why, because you can only talk about it so much, right? We've got, as content creators, you got to create YouTube videos. You got to create news stories like you see over there in Cointelegraph. You have to come up with a lot of stories to keep clicks going, to keep engagement going. And so you have to kind of just come up with a bunch of random stuff. When it just comes down to talking about it in this particular lens, not a whole lot to say about it, right? But what we could try to do is try to find confluence factors that would be symbolic of a big moment happening. And if we do end up getting what we're talking about over in here, where all these dynamics have occurred, and that this is our short squeeze, then it would indicate we definitively have the trend change happening over here in gold. And if the confluence factor happens with the Russell busting out in here, we know this is real. We know this isn't some little fake out move, but we know that this is actually a real move that's happening in the market. And that's where we sit right now, waiting to see, are we going to get the real move? Not get the fake move, but get the true, real move to happen in here. Put that back on so you understand why total 3 was even there. This isn't clean. There you go. Right? Okay, there you go. Again, like I said, not over talking myself, but here I am at 42 minutes and I've over talked the heck out of myself already. So, all right. Yo quiero unos tacos queso birria del un me gusta. Yes, we love birria tacos, cheese birria tacos. Those are absolutely delicious, Oscar. All right. There you go. There's your big dynamic. Fascinating moment in the market. My thoughts are, obviously, so what you have to understand is, of course, this is a different dynamic than crypto's ever seen, right? This is why we have to talk about these things. You've had 3 very copy-paste cycles, 2013, 2017, 2021. They were copy-paste identical, you guys. You had breadth, and you had all the indexes going together. This is the first time you've had it where it's not like that. And that's why you are so long in here. Do you know how long it's been since the altcoin market has set a new all-time high? 3 years and 10 months. When has it ever taken that long for the altcoin market cap to break into a new all-time high? Never. It's never happened. It's always happened by now. Why is it not? Because we have a different dynamic in the stock market this time. That is why. So we're all playing in a very different arena than what we've had to play with in past arenas. And trying to decode that and understand that dynamic and why that's happening and how things can pan out positively. And we're having to do that, again, reiterating, the worst thing that a retail investor can ever say is this time is different. And that typically comes during moments of we're in the depths of a crash. We're in a capitulation market where everybody's looking for 12K, right? In 2022, all of 2022 and all of 2023. And everybody's looking for 12K because this time's different. or when we're at a peak, like in 2021, where you have Elon Musk and Tesla adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet that we couldn't top because this time is different, right? Those are the most dangerous things when retail investors say this time is different. If prices are shooting to the upside, we're never going to crash because this time is different, right? So this time is different is the most dangerous saying anybody can say, right? But you have to understand when they're saying it, right? Like it's usually based off narratives. In the environment we're in right now, this is clearly different, right? This is different from all past crypto cycles. And that's why people say, this crypto cycle sucks. Or, nobody can explain to it of why it's not happening. And it's because there's a very clear dynamic happening in broader markets. And this is the easiest way to show that in one simple visual of what has happened. That it's a breadth issue, it's all tied into majors. And what we have to see is an unleashing of majors and a release of small caps. And that your altcoins are all tied to what happens in the stock market. So there you go. The good news is we seem to be right on the cusp of it. Come on. All right, there we go. Let's dive into the chat. I've only got 14 minutes to be able to get through it. And we'll see how that ends up going. In the meantime, happy Wednesday. Hopefully I didn't scare you to death already.
It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday,
All right. Oh, wait, hit stop. Don't let that thing happen again. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, of course, before the stream even began, Chieftain Blackbeard came out swinging with 20 memberships. Brother, as always, thank you so much. And then right after that, of course, Edward Lang came in and dropped 250 bombers with 100. So Chieftain Blackbeard and Edward Lang, I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for the support. I really, really, really appreciate it. And, of course, everybody who gets the free membership on top of that, guys. So 120 people got free memberships during all of that. So thank you very much. Solaire, member for 12 months. Good morning, brother. Thank you. JP Slabs, is it safe to assume price targets for alts would be lower if Bitcoin retraces opposed to going for a parabola? Well, yeah, it would just likely imply that. Right, we're all making assumptions here. Probably, again, like in 2021, only 20% of them were able to hit all-time highs or break into new all-time highs. That number will probably be even lower this time around. Bassem El Qadri, I can't do a super chat? ? Member for 9 months. I don't know. I can't look at your phone and troubleshoot, but it should be able to do it. But thank you for 9 months, brother. XR Priest, if gold backtest, does that mean the gold to silver ratio will come down like Bitcoin dominance, or will gold drag silver down with it? Thanks, BCB. You would think they would probably move together. However, the gold to silver ratio has already been absolutely annihilated from the 702 retracement, right? So I think it's going to go much lower anyway. Right, silver's been the better bet for the last 4 months. Mod Barber, hey BCB, I don't think market's already priced in the rate cuts, and after that, it's profit taking for most. So we missed the parabolic ending already. Wait, I don't think market's already priced in the rate cuts, and after that, it's profit taking for most. So we missed the parabolic ending already. It feels like a contradiction of what you said there. I don't think the markets have priced it in at the rate cuts, and after that, it's profit taking for most. So we missed the parabolic ending already. I'm not disagreeing with you that we could be over here. I'm not disagreeing with you that that's possible. Right. But I don't think you can definitively say it's not just a backtest right now. Seriously. Trust me, I've spent a lot of, you have to understand from my position on the YouTube channel, the last thing I want to do is I try to speak very real with you to kind of help you understand what it's even like being a YouTuber in the crypto space and the challenges that YouTubers face. And one of the reasons why I don't have sponsors, and I haven't had sponsors for over 3 years, is because when you have sponsors, right, there becomes like or even just a subconscious thing that YouTubers are faced with in general is the constant call for up, right? Because when markets go into bear markets and things like that, as YouTubers, your viewer counts go down, your affiliate link clicks are going to go down, your sponsorships start fading and disappearing and all that different stuff. And if you have affiliate links, or especially if you have affiliate links, right? Affiliate links, right? And if you speak negatively about the market, your audience is not going to feel enticed to want to click on your affiliate links during that type of video. Like, that's the truth. And so YouTubers and influencers are incentivized to keep propelling that things are going to be good. And if they think it's short-term bad, they'll just kind of briefly touch on that, but then focus on the big picture of good, mostly to make sure that the affiliate link clicks still happen, right? So that's an important thing to understand when it comes to most YouTubers, right? And it's no different for me. When the prices go down and the market's pulling back, retail sentiment becomes very poor and viewership goes down. You can, this is one thing I talk about a lot, is that you could see it with sentiment, right? We have 2,800 people in the chat in the markets in the morning today. Why is that, right? The last couple of weeks, it's been 3,400, 3,800, things like that, right? Because prices are down, right? That's what always happens. And so you have to understand that occurs. But I don't care. right. Like, it does. I mean, I don't want to be. I understand the dynamic, and I'm not worried about that dynamic. I'm not worried about viewership going down, or no affiliate link clicks, or subscribers on a newsletter, or things like that. It doesn't matter. I would rather not be sitting here for a year in a downtrending market, feeding hopium, and then having sponsors come on and blah, 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 buy this because crypto's going to turn up. Hey, we may be in a little bit of a downtrend, but we're going to turn up. It's going to be crazy. I just don't want to do it. I'm tired. I don't want to do that, like, at all. So I'm not afraid. I'm ready. Like, I'm fully ready. I'm not sitting here. I see it, man. You guys have asked me here in Markets in the Morning. I've seen it over there on Twitter. People being like, we just pull down here and then we go into a bull run. Baloney? No. I'm ready, man. To be like, it's in a bear market, bro. It's in a bear market. Done. Game over. Gigs up. We'll go into a retrace. That's it. Gigs up. Done. So, I don't know how I got on this rant. Oh, yeah, you said, so you think we missed the parabolic ending. It was a conflict of what you had said. Hey, BCB, I don't think the markets have priced in the rate cuts. And then after that, it's profit taking for most. So we missed the parabolic ending already. That feels like a contradiction. But I could agree that could be the peak. But I can also see that it could not be. And that this could just be the back test and the peak is still to come. But I've kind of outlaid my thoughts are that if we go dipping down into here, I do think we're beyond the peak, right? And I'm not going to sit there and sell hopium of, 94K, we bounce and everything is great and wonderful and blah, 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 baloney. I just don't think it is. I think we're past it. Right? I will think you're past it. You go dipping down in here. Good case for retrace, but then boom, right? Now the question will be, will we get really lucky? Will this only be a pullback to 68,000? Right? If that happens, I think I could start arguing we're looking for a bottom here. But if this happens, it'll be about retrace, and you won't see me arguing or looking for a bottom until we get down in here. So anyhow, I'm willing to go either way on bull or bear. You say that you think the top is already passed. I can see your argument. I can understand that. Problem is, you got all the daily candle closes that are still holding in here. I think you could still be holding. But like I've outlined, if we go dipping below in here, below this 105, I'm right there with you. I think we're probably past it. Probably past it. Bulldog 589 gives 5 memberships. Brother, thank you. Oscar, good morning. Hit the like. Like listening from home, work or toilet. Slap the like. Yeah, if I bet there's somebody in here. If you have snuck away from your office and you're sitting on the toilet in your corporate building, it's a perfect opportunity to minimize the video and hit the like button. Yeah, Ethereum got a nice little pop there. Craig Tilbury, hey BCB, thanks for everything. Very generous, Craig. Thank you, man. Thanks for everything. As always, hoping the family are well. I was thinking about rotating a percentage of my XRP bag into Solana. What do you think? Is that a terrible idea right now? Thanks. I don't know if there's a big difference in there on doing that. You're rotating one asset that's high into another asset that's high and just kind of betting one is going to take off and one won't. Right. There's things that are still pretty underpriced. And I'm personally not playing the rotation game, but if I was going to play the rotation game, I'd probably be eyeing things that are a little bit lower. GB Mac, new member, welcome. JJ Jacob, member for 27 months. Brother, thank you. Why are you not showing others like in March of 2024? Seems reasonable, but I see a 40% crash when Bitcoin tops, then Bitcoin retrace and others pushing higher. Oh, well. Because we have 3 different things that are happening. You're actually having true, actual, like normal dynamics that happen in the market. And I've been writing about this in newsletters. And we have brought this up briefly in the markets of moving out the risk curve, right? So what you typically have is you have Bitcoin, then you start shifting out the risk curve. And so what is the first shift out of the risk curve? It's the top 3 altcoins, right? It's XRP, Ethereum, and Binance Coin. Beyond that, we have not really shifted out the risk curve. Right. Others is when you've gone way out the risk curve. Right. That's when you've hit euphoria. Right. So we haven't gone there. Right. So that's a big optimistic thing for the crypto market, is that we haven't reached that yet. Right. Once others is pumping, that's likely danger because we have shifted way out the risk curve. And we don't even have meme coins doing anything, which thank God. Right. So we haven't gone way, way, way out the risk curve yet. But yeah, no, others just hasn't even budged yet because we have only gradually shifted out the risk curve from Bitcoin to Ethereum, Binance Coin, and XRP. Right. Then the further move out the risk curve, of course, is seeing Total 3 actually be able to bust out of there. And my suspicion is once Total 3 busts out of there, others follows along. GB Mac, what if it's a debt market collapse? I don't know. They say check Russell chart.
Yeah. Meow.
Okay. Oscar made me do it. Meow. Oh boy, Oscar, what are you doing, dude? Yeah, GBI, I don't know about that market collapse. New Wave Counseling. I try not to live in an echo chambers, but I can't stay in any other channel than yours. I've tried. You're level-headed and honest with us and yourself. I've even heard you call out one of your mistakes, so thank you. Do you follow anyone you like? I like people who are jerks. As weird as that is, I really like to hear people who are total jerks, and I feel like they're painting the whole picture. The thing, I'm not going to say names because it's very few people, and they're kind of like, and it's not much. But anybody who presents data, which you're just not going to find, man, who really gives the whole picture, or if they give an opinions on things like this. Like when I show stuff, I'm always trying to give you the whole picture of everything. I don't ever sit here and point up and say price is going to go to here because I know, I got a secret. I'm a guru. I don't ever do that, right? It's like, here is why, right? And then if it doesn't pan out, it's like, oh crap, that just didn't work out. But there's always the why. It's never the, I don't say anything because I'm guru. And so I always want to see exactly what. And people who are total jerks on their channels, I like that because I feel they're kind of, I don't consider myself a jerk, but I don't know. I got a little bit of there. Do not mistake kindness for weakness. You know what I mean? But, trying to, really present the data. And I don't know, there's just not many of them out there. And to paint the big picture. Like and if anybody ever says anything for your cycle, that's block reward having related, I mean, immediately I'm done. I won't listen. If you say anything that is not grounded in data or reality, I'm out. If you follow any narratives, I'm out. Any fake narratives, I'm out. You gotta have true hard data. That's the most important thing. Okay. But yeah, new wave ones, there's not many. And even the ones that I do, like, they're wrong all the time. Wrong all the time. A lot of them have been calling for things to actually crash for a really long time, but they keep going up. Jerome Van de Vier, since rate cuts historically mark the crypto top, isn't it very likely the markets will top in the next month, even if the RTY doesn't escape? I remember you making a lot of videos about it. Yeah, my speculation is we actually do escape. And then, like, shortly after after we actually kind of come to an ending here and do end up topping. And we're even, no matter the scenario in here that we're looking at, like I'm talking for Bitcoin, even if it does miraculously somehow get something like this, well, we're talking top, right? Or if this thing goes here and it goes into history, we're talking top. So we're not, I don't have a thesis or a presentation to present to you that's going to last 6 months. You know what I mean? So we're all kind of looking at the same thing. CryptKeeper XRP RSI bearish divergence on the weekly update. So we actually talked about this last week. So you haven't seen any type of dip below. Like if you had seen the RSI dip below, yes, you've seen a lower high, but it also reset itself. We'll do this really quick. And we'll move on because I'm already past the allotted time for this live stream. Right. Right. This is an RSI reset, right? And so then you have your first bump up and pull back. Now, if this RSI had already dipped below here and gone below these lows, you have a very real bearish divergence that has happened in here. Otherwise, this is just a reset and a pop up, right? It doesn't mean you can't have another leg to pop up again, right? Right, but if this is dipped below here, well, this is here. No bueno. Gerard, thank you very much. Or Gerard, kind of like GIF or GIF or Garmin or Jarman. Jack Long, given the context around XRP, are you looking to rebalance your portfolio into other coins like ADA? No. Mr. Nobody, hey BCB, if the Russell breaks out, do you anticipate a full extension? Any clues about rut fib targets based on Parber cycles? Does alt season end with rut? Alt season will likely end with rut. He's talking about RTY, Russell 2000. You can look at RUT or you can look at RTY, whatever. They're all within like 2 points of each other. I speculate we actually don't get a full. Here's why it could top out earlier. I gotta go. I'm so late. Hold on, let me text PTW really quick. All right. The Russell 2000 is just a tick away from its 4.236 extension. So I think it's even possible that it only gets up in here to like 2,600. I know that upon a breakout in here, this is where I'll start removing capital from the market and do some rebalancing. Tony Wynn says, biggest top signal was the only F girls telling you to buy XRP. If that happened at the peak, then sure. Anthony Valentini, is there any precedent that a rate cut will extend the bull market, or do we always crash? In a true, real cutting cycle, where we are just cut, it's led to crashes. But the thing that's varied is the amount of time that it takes afterwards, right? Whether it's a month, 3 months, 6 months, but it came afterwards. Anthony Valentini, is there, at least within, what was it? I think it's within the last 25 years. It's either 25 or 27 years. Anthony Valentini, is there any, yeah, thank you, brother. Jerome Van de Viver. If XRP breaks down, does that mean the entire altcoin market is done right? Won't happen in isolation? Unknown. Because you look through the whole market, it doesn't look weak. Like when you look at Ethereum, Russell, you look at Bitcoin dominance, it doesn't look weak. So that's why it's not favorable to me, at least right now. But I also don't see anything like screaming to me like YOLO bull. The thing that's going to happen is, like, I do think we're going to go back to 310, right? Like I do think we're going back here. But what we have to see is the structural confirmation of it being like this isn't some major problem that's going to reject the whole thing, but that it busts out. And it busts out, it's likely coming back, guys. But the bust out in itself implies we're okay. And Oscar, of course, has said, yo quiero unos tacos. Queso birria. Birria. Queso birria. Del un me gusta. Caveman, thank you very much. Says, I'm feeling the stress for sure. I've witnessed multiple people selling, expecting a crash in September. Hope all is well with your family, BCB. Take care, my dude. Caveman, bro, very generous, dude. Thank you very much. Thank you. Crypto Student 99 gifted a membership. Thank you. Oscar gifted 5. Thank you very much. Mr. Arnold, the cycle is likely playing God of War on Ragnarok. Okay, so I don't know what that means, but I'm going to assume that's like epic hard mode. Crypto Man X says, you sound like XRP is doomed to sell everything. Not sounding like anything. I'm just presenting the charts to you guys. Right? Right? You could be completely fine. 310, I think, is going to tell an answer. Right? And then 310, we get it, whoop, then for sure. For sure. Then you'll hear XRP is doomed. If I have to change the logo on, change the hat logo, I won't be welcomed anymore. You're not welcome here anymore is what will happen to me, I'm sure. I know it. I know it. Been here long enough. Spent 8 years going through it. Go through the whole lawsuit. I can promise you, if I'm selling my butt off right in here, I will become the black sheep. So, all right, there we go. Absolutely nothing new. Just a lot of regurgitated stuff happening over here on Bitcoin and stuff. I think the most valuable thing, of course, is to pay attention to yesterday's video. I think it really paints the true picture. I think the big thing watching for right now is gold, right? Looking for a short squeeze, and I think we're in a short squeeze, but the dynamic change. If you see gold flip over, right? Like this is your classic short squeeze at the very end, flip over, and the Russell break out. I think it confirms it's the real deal. Somebody said Bitcoin dominance is going for it. Yeah, I mean, there's still nothing implying that Bitcoin dominance is like turning its way around or anything. It's still just gradually grinding down. Kenji says, what if we get a rate cut? What if we don't get a rate cut? Bitcoin crashes, but the narrative of the next rate cuts in October, it retraces. Is that possible? Just a guess and a hypothesis. I mean, so like we could literally create 1,000 scenarios in our mind, right? Right? Like one of the ones I get all the time is like, what if XRP crashes $1 today? Well, then what are you going to do? Well, it's like, well, I'm screwed. What do you think? Like, I can't do anything about that. You know, we can create 1,000 scenarios of what could end up happening. It doesn't seem probable that we're not going to get the rate cut. The words that are coming out of their mouth imply that we're going to get the rate cut. CME futures imply that we're going to be getting a rate cut. The 2-month yield clearly breaking down implies that we're going to be getting a rate cut, right? It's just, we've been stuck here since December when they had their last one, right? They had the pre-election cut. Then they were committed to it because like they went into the election being like, it's official. The economy is fantastic. Here's a 50 basis point rate cut and we're going to keep cutting because the economy is doing so great. Then we get through the election. The election does not go the way that they wanted it to go. And they still did another rate cut out of obligation and then stopped. Right? That's where you get December, right? The first post-election rate cut. Then nothing, right? We have the implication. It's implying that they're going to cut, right? So I don't think it's a fake out. I think they're really going to do it. So, okay. Everyday airline pilot member for 25 months says, sorry to keep you longer. Do you see silver crashing with gold together, then silver doing better into a gold retrace? And silver could keep marching, but it's obviously going to find resistance. It's likely to find resistance in these areas, right? We're getting close to the all-time high, and it's not to say it won't range underneath the all-time high for a year or two. These things are super, super slow moving, and it really could stall out up in here and have to range and work out these areas for a long time. And having to do those types of things. Right? I mean, what you could consider a crash, maybe, but not much, right? Just all ranges on silver are typically a year to 2 years long before they end up breaking out. And there's no telling that we won't have that happening right here. But it has reached a price that I can't buy it anymore. I just can't. I can't buy it. So, all right. I got to roll, guys. I'm so late. I'm in an hour and 15 minutes. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I appreciate all of your support. We're at a very critical moment in the market. We're waiting to see how this Russell is going to behave and gold's going to behave. And I think they're all going to move together. And this is just your big dynamic of the market happening in here. No false narratives, no anything. This is it. There's your data. That's what we need. You need gold to reverse on itself. And then I think you're going to see the Russell take off with it. That's going to take your altcoins with it at the exact same time. Cognitive dissonance hates that. You got a lot of narratives and a lot of stories that have told you otherwise. But in my opinion, I think this is truly the thing that matters. And sometimes it's not even my opinion. I love it when I don't have to produce an opinion. I love it when I can just show you data and say, this is what's up. So that's what's up. All right, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Of course, check out the newsletter that was published here just a couple of days ago to wrap up the month of August. Altcoin market cap races to historical all-time high with a Russell. Russell surges with Dow Jones. Bitcoin teeters. Bitcoin dominance rotation and one big trade. 35-minute audio recording. It's a long one. Check that out over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Hit you with the frog one more time on the way out the door.
It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
That's it for this one. We made it. Here's what's great. The market stayed steady during this one. It is not cooperated during markets in the morning for a long time. So wonderful to see that. All right. Boom. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. Thank you all. Again, thank you all for the support. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. We come to markets in the morning. You guys are absolutely lovely and wonderful. And all of you are very generous. And of course, Blackbeard and Edward Lang, you guys always come out swinging big time. And there was so many generous super chats and questions and everything like that, guys. And the chat always at a rate that I can't even keep up with. Thank you all. I appreciate it. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.